Oh, I don't have music still. Oh man, I fixed the camera. Anyway, welcome
Oh my
back, Business
goodness.
Geeks, to the Business Geeks podcast. I'm your host, Joe Pardo, here today with our two co-hosts, Jennifer Crawford of Sparent.co. How you doing, Jen?
Doing great. Thank you. Thank you very much for
You know,
asking.
you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And Samantha Riley from SamanthaRiley.global. How you doing down
Hello.
under, Sam? Still enjoying
Doing
the
good.
new scenery?
Absolutely. And I was going to say the future is bright. Friday is
Oh,
great. Just so you know, you guys can slide into Friday knowing it's a great day.
that's good to know. It's
Very good
supposed
to
to be like a
know.
massive storm here, like all weekend. So hooray for that,
Ah.
for the Northeast. I don't know. Is this supposed to rain down there, Jen?
Yeah, like nonstop.
Yeah.
Basically, the weekend is a washout. That's okay. You know, my spring flowers and my garden are going to be very happy. So
Ah, well, I'm sure they will be. I'm sure they will be. But there's plenty of weekends ahead for great weather and things. With spring and summer, just it's going to turn to summer. It's going to happen. It's going to
I
be
think
like,
so.
oh, all of a sudden, it'll just be like 90 degrees every day.
Yeah, be sweating.
I don't know what that is in C, but hot in C. Well, wherever you're watching from right now, drop in the chat. We'd love to hear where you're all. There's quite a few of you watching live here, and if you're listening to the recording, shout out to your concierge, your podcast. Excuse me, yourpodcastconcierge.com for enabling us to be able to make that happen. So before we get into it, we have a handful of topics. We're here to answer your business questions, what you have going on, how we can help guide your decision making process. So I last 2 weeks ago, I had a different camera angle and it wasn't quite working out. I've redone my whole desk, my whole setup here in the office. So and I did it. My daughter was here for take your kid to work day, so I was able to get some awesome artwork for the
Beautiful.
office.
Beautiful.
It's
Yes,
looking good too. It's looking
Yeah,
good.
so
she
cool.
was she was actually super helpful. We were doing some. What's up, Drew? Good to see you here in the chat with us. We're doing some reorganizing of the warehouse here and getting things into a quote unquote physical location in the system. And she made all the placards for the different shelves that were, as we are going through and labeling them. So she made all the labels for the shelves. So when she started to realize that there was letters like, W1A, when she got to C, she drew cat ears, and then D drew dog ears, and
I love
Oh,
elephant
it.
that's
made the
so
E into an
good.
elephant. So yeah. So it was fun having her run back and forth in the warehouse to the desk instead of her standing where I was, so she could like have some time so I could get some things done in between her doing the real work, the
Those are going
important
to be
work.
fond memories for her. Like when she's older, she's going to look back on those days and with
Well, I
very
think
fond
fond
memories
memories for both.
for both. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah. So I got the setup. I didn't get the music. Well, maybe next week. We'll try again in 2 weeks to get the music to pipe through. But so let's see. So what's happened? So the pricing, right? So one of the things I wanted to bring up, I put it in the spreadsheet, was a video that I watch a YouTube channel called Breaking Points. If you haven't heard of them, they're great. It's mostly a centrist type of political show. They have one person that's more right wing, one person that's more left wing, and they find some common ground all the time. But they also like to point out stories like this, where look, we've heard in the past, like what was it, Chipotle said, hey, we're not really having an effect. The whole like inflation, the whole supply shortage thing isn't really having an effect on us, but we're still raising prices because people are still willing to pay them. And then this report comes out and basically shows that corporate profits have flipped on with the amount of the percentage of the revenue, going to versus labor. And yeah, so basically, before it was kind of like there was a couple of companies willing to admit, like on somewhat on the down low, that hey, we're just raising prices because we can, and nobody's stopping us, and customers aren't balking. And then this report comes out and basically is like, yeah, no, it's yeah, these supply constraints and things, they affect certain industries, but we're basically just using that as a big cover to make like record profits. And it was one article I just saw talking about Shell Oil, having triple profits was it this past year or this past quarter?
I mean, is anybody surprised? I'm not surprised.
No,
I mean,
not
I
at
would
all.
be surprised if it was the opposite. But corporate greed, I mean, this is just an easy pass for corporate greed, right? Like we're all expecting higher prices. So, and it's not that they aren't experiencing some inflation. I mean, every business's costs are going up. But like you said, it's a big old cover for them to be able to raise prices beyond what they're, experiencing due to inflation. So, it's corporate greed at its finest. The average, Joe suffers because of it. We're never going to regulate it. I've given up. They're ruining capitalism.
Well, is it corporate greed or is it shareholder greed?
I mean, it's one and the same, right? I mean,
it all plays in the same band. But
they answer to the shareholders more than their consumers. That's been going on for a while now. So I'm angry, and if you aren't angry, you're not paying attention.
Okay, Drew, completely disagree.
Good.
I would love to know which part you disagree with, and let us know. I'm really interested to hear a different take on it.
PBS was also reporting on this too, Joe. So, in case somebody is wondering if this is coming from multiple sources, this is true. I mean, the people.
Well, the corporate reports,
it's facts.
the earning reports are out there, right? So it's just up to somebody to go and do the math, right? And all that.
What's inflation sitting at there, and what's inflation sitting at in the US at the moment?
8%, 7.8%, something like that.
Whoa!
It was high. It's high.
8.5%. Let me see here.
Wow.
8.5.
Well, we all know where that's going to go, right? There's only one way that can go.
Yeah.
So
and interest rates.
Hold on to your seats, everybody.
Hold on to your seats.
Yeah.
Hold on to your seats. I mean.
Yeah. Drew says 9.62%.
Whoa! So in Australia, it was just reported. I think it's 5 point. I think 5.1. It's 5 point something. I think 5.1. And that I was like, wow, that's high. But 9.62.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that can't be sustained.
No. I mean, the hope is that it'll level off and then slowly either come back to earth, enabling people to get out of their positions that they are in, whatever, whether it's like we're talking about stocks or we're talking about different investments.
Well, the next crash is coming. We've known that for years.
Yeah. I mean, historically speaking, we are on that trajectory. And
the housing crisis will lead it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say about a housing crisis, though, is that with lack of inventory, it kind of keeps that at bay. So, and now with interest rates going up, you have this effect where it's like, well, maybe it's not worth me moving anymore, right? So there's still going to be a percentage of people that do, but it's not as many people going to be looking. But with such a lack of inventory on the market, it actually could stave that off for at least a while, until more inventory comes on the market and kind of shifts the balance of power words. So I mean, obviously we'll have to see, but until more, like there definitely is a shortage of inventory. It's been that way for a year and a half, or more, and until that aspect of it changes, it could end up at least stabilizing. Even if it's really propped up and really overinflated in housing, it could prop it up for a while till things maybe normalize as a whole. I mean, heck, any price can be the price if we just wait long enough. Wait another 10, if prices like leveled out today and then we waited another 10, 20 years before they started to go, up, like up in a significant amount again, then it just becomes the price,
Well, I
but
think there's more fallout, though. I think there's fallout for people that are paying higher rents as a result of the housing shortage, and those people, if they're not homeless and living with their parents because they can't afford a place of their own, they're also not spending money on furniture, on other necessities. They're not going out to eat as much. So I think the crippling of the economy is a little bit more there's more fallout from the housing environment than just a shortage of homes for sale.
yeah, no, true. That definitely. Drew says the balance of power is written in the tax code. It's never been easier to start a business and take advantage of the tax code as it's written. I mean, I would tend to agree with that. I think that it is easier now than ever to make that happen, to start a business and to take advantage of. I mean, obviously, you can only do so many write-offs without making money, but the opportunity is there for people if they so choose, even if it's a like a side hustle. I would say one like a step above side hustle, because side hustle could mean delivering food for one of the delivery food peoples or driving for Uber or something like that. So
Well, when we look back at 2008, whilst there was a lot of crashes and there was a lot of bad things that happened, what happens on the flip side is that also that was the time that a lot of people had to start businesses because they lost their jobs or, whatever happened. So I guess, what Drew said, the balance, that's the word there, right? It's a rebalance where, things aren't as they were, but they have to shift and rebalance. And that's what we're starting to see. And
Yeah,
it's only
I agree.
the
I think
very beginning.
yeah, I think there's always some good that comes out of the bad. There are silver linings. A great deal of people that have left the workforce have left to start their own businesses because of what Drew mentioned, that it is so much easier now to start a business. I do think there's a little bit of privilege in that statement, though, in terms of tax code. If you're not a seasoned business owner, if you don't have funds to pay for an accountant to navigate that tax code, you're not really playing that same game. So I think, yes and no. It depends on who you are and where you're coming from.
yeah, I mean, yeah, well, yeah, you definitely have to. You have to be able to have somebody to help navigate that, and that takes money or
Money.
a lot of time playing with like TurboTax or something like that. That's the beauty of our tax system, Sam. You have to pretty much pay somebody to know how much you need to pay. Not all the time. I mean, depending on your situation, you can get away without doing it, but it's definitely a very
Sun in the sun.
somewhat rigged situation.
Yeah.
And if people don't understand sarcasm, that was very sarcastic. Just there.
I got it. I got it, Sam.
Excellent. I knew you would, Jen. Always.
So there was this other article that I came across, which I thought was funny because let's see, Google makes $100,000 worth of tech training free to every U.S. business. Which isn't that just called YouTube? I mean, you can learn anything from YouTube.
Exactly. There's also a website, learndigital.withgoogle.com, where you can actually get free training anywhere, any way is what I'm trying to say. And there's hundreds of courses on there. So I was a bit confused with this one.
Yeah. So it says it'll provide any U.S. business over $100,000 worth of online courses in data analytics, design, and other tech skills for workers free of charge, the search company said on Monday. The
I
offer.
think maybe it's a bit of awesome PR.
I'll take the bell for that. The Google Career Certificates, a program the company launched in 2018 to help globally boost their resumes by learning new tools at their own pace. So, Grow with Google is the site. And it looks like Google's offering access up to 500 scholarships per company. Interesting. Grow your employees and your business. Just give us all your data and we'll do it. Whatever you want.
Or else you could just go to Google Digital Garage. You don't need to put in your details. There's 156 courses on there, and just learn to your heart's content.
That's right.
Yeah. I just, it is a piece of PR. I look good on Google for being able to keep a program open for that long. They're known for creating and then shuttering very, very quickly sometimes. These startup programs, because they pay based they pay based on launching programs, not maintaining programs. So like, oh, you want to get that bonus? Go launch a program. And then everybody shifts to like launch said program so you get the big bonus. And then it just kind of flounders because they're not really invested in making anything with it. And they move on to the next project to launch that one because that's where they chase the money. Kind of a bad model, if you ask me, but Google has enough money to burn, so they're not particularly worried about it. Before I get to the next one, Jen, give us an update on your business buying escapades.
Well, there isn't too much. We're in kind of a holding pattern. The loan is in underwriting right now, so we spent several days, maybe a week or so, collecting lots of paperwork, doing lots and lots of paperwork, financials, business plan, projections. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So that's all that's been satisfied what they needed from us. So we're hoping we'll hear by next week. But
yay, so exciting!
I'm hoping. I mean, I'm not too worried. I mean, I think we're fine. I think we've demonstrated that we're good for it and that we can handle it. And yeah, but it's always better when it's official, when it's not just me thinking,
totally,
I'm a good risk, Sure. But yeah.
I guess my question is, and obviously you won't be able to answer this until after the fact, but do you feel like you're going to feel like all that effort was worth it after the fact? That's the question. I'll ask it now, but I'll ask it in
ask it now.
Couple months.
All of the financials and the documents and all of it. Yeah, I would say yes, because it wasn't that difficult because we use accountants, so all of our financials were all in one place. So that was just a matter of like handing them a packet that already existed. And any sort of information that we provided in the business plan really just had inspired us or got us looking more deeply into this sector that we're going into, and market analysis information and stuff that actually gave us more confidence than we had in the purchase. So it was really good research. It took the research to another level because we had to satisfy what they want to know. So yeah, I would say it was not a wasted effort. I think it'll be worthwhile in the end.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Totally.
I hope for your sake it is. But it seems like you already kind of have your mindset on the fact that it's going to be, which is good to hear.
Well, I'm sure Jen, with all her business experience, hasn't just jumped into this, Joe, hoping. I'm sure she's actually looked at some numbers and
Not
got
just
some
me.
strategy.
Yeah, we've done our due diligence. We've had a month of due diligence. Yeah, it hasn't just been us like saying, "Oh, this sounds good." We've had accountants involved, lawyers involved, even family involved. We've trusted family with business acumen. But yeah, we've dug pretty deep on this, so we feel pretty good about it.
No,
Nice.
I mean that's great. I mean, look, everything's great until you get punched in the face, right? And actually put it into. I mean, I mean, I've actually one of my clients is going through that for like the third time, having the company that he works for being rolled up into yet another bigger company.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, everything. Obviously the financials probably hopefully made sense when they made that said decision, but when it actually boots hit the ground, like did it actually work out? Did it actually make sense in the day-to-day operations? Is why I said I will repose that question in I don't know
Oh
eight
yeah, I'm sure
weeks.
it's going to be a bumpy ride. We've got some, we're working with a consultant too. So, and she's actually been the operations consultant for the business we're buying, and then
Oh,
we're hiring her when we transition. So she has a lot of like deep insight, and she got permission to share that insight with us. So we've got her, operations reports and stuff. So that's been really helpful. And they were very transparent. So yeah, there are some things we need to get in and fix, and you can't fix them right away because you can't rock the boat too much as you're,
Mm-hmm.
acquiring, because people don't like change, even if it's good change. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be probably the first 6 months are going to be pretty bumpy as we, get in and learn the business, and then start trying to like plan out the changes that will, make it a better company.
Mm.
so
I think acquisitions are one
good.
of the best. Sorry, Joe.
No,
I
no,
think
no, don't. Yeah.
acquisitions are one of the best ways to grow a business.
Yeah, I'm
So,
pretty excited about
yeah,
it.
yeah, so good.
I would agree. It is among the best if as long as you have an operationally sound company, and are willing to deal with the potential bumpy road of integrating two companies, which we will get to later actually, about the whole like buying Twitter and Elon Musk thing. But first, Drew Griffin, shout out to Drew for being in the chat, has a question. It says, I have a question. Based upon your business year at year's end, how do you plan or allocate your distribution, and what do you keep liquid for your business next year? Who would like to take a stab at this one
Well, I'm a
first?
service-based business. So I would have thought this is right up your alley, Joe.
We
Well,
do
I mean,
distributions. We do distributions, but it is based on a percentage. And I just don't like. I know I should know this off the top of my head, but it's all in a spreadsheet, and I just I just go with the
I
spreadsheet.
think I've misunderstood this question, to be brutally honest. All of a sudden, then.
oh yeah, not distribution as in like distributing product, but as in like
Profits.
the profits, distributing the profits at the end of the year,
Got it.
and how much to keep on board
Yeah.
for a rainy day and stuff like that. Like to me, I think that I guess it depends on how hardcore your budgeting is. So like the more hardcore your budgeting is, and when I say hardcore, I mean like, are you budgeting for year over year expenses, or like by decade expenses? And by that I mean like if you have a restaurant, you want to make sure that you're putting money away to do your refurbishment, right? Because every 5 to 6 years, you should be refurbishing the restaurant, or maybe changing out the decor or changing out the theme. All takes money, right? So you don't want to wait around until the like, oh well, we need to get this done, and it's like, there's no money for that because we, distributed it all, or we kept reinvesting it, and that didn't either go the way we planned, or something to that effect. So to me, I think it starts with the budget, and if you make sure that you're hitting all those targets as far as budgeting for things that isn't always on your mind as far as, like I said, like something you do every 5 years in the business, or putting away for any machinery, any equipment, right? Do you have a budget for that? Like, so that you're depreciating assets like computers and that kind of equipment. Over time, you can say, oh, well, we have, yeah, it's depreciated, but now we have the funds because we put away for it. We didn't just wait until it was time to buy again to have that. So Drew adds developers payroll expenses versus paying taxes on revenue collected. I mean, that's a fair that is a fair question. I think at that point it really comes down to talking with your accountant, because there's a lot of like loopholes as far as like what can you sock away, what can you invest both into the business, what year you want to actually do that in, because as the tax code evolves, it's important to, and this is just based off my experiences, knowing that like it's not always like things like that. It's not always a good idea to just take those deductions and like write-offs every single year. Sometimes it's worth waiting another year because there's a projection that the tax code could change in your favor, or how, depending on how much profit you actually ended up with at the end of the year. That's why I think it's really important, like when you're talking about get to a certain point in your business, like to have like a good accountant that's actually knows and is following up on those changes, and knows your business well enough, the numbers well enough to know, like, is this a good idea to do it? Should we take it now? Should we wait? Should we roll those deductions for a couple of years, and that kind of stuff? Anything either of you'd like to add?
I mean, the
I
good
agree.
accountant, I mean, we're not accountants. I mean, with us, we have
Yeah.
few different accounts, like, we have payroll, we have operations, and we have a profit account where, and our pattern, we're a fairly young business, but our pattern has been, in terms of distribution, so far, we have opted out of distribution, and instead taken our profits and rolled it back into the business. And so we do that towards the end of the year. It's when we invest back into the business just to minimize our tax liability going into the new year. But, we've worked with our accountants to figure out percentage, like, how those accounts get distributed so that we're never, strapped for, we can always pay our bills basically. And we always have a little extra. So, but I think it's good that you're thinking about it, because a lot of people just pour all their money in one account and they just draw from it as needed. But you also should think, like, I don't know how your business is structured. We're an S corp, so we draw a salary as well. We pay ourselves from the business, and an S corp will, is better for you if you're doing that. So yeah, there's a lot of accountant questions. It's hard for us to answer, not being accountants. Take our advice with a grain of salt.
I took 2 accounting courses. That's the closest I can get.
Did you really?
I did.
I did not know that.
On my second tour of college, I took the 2 accounting courses needed, and it, I did all right at it. I mean, I understand it. It would take me a few minutes to get. I've had to do it a couple of times since then, with a couple of clients and here at the shop. Just looking at the balance sheet and then remembering. I still have my books, like my all my notes and things from there in my on one of my shelves, just in case I need to go back for a refresher. But not that we don't have Google and there are $100,000 courses and YouTube. Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. Do either of you use the profit first accounting method in your businesses? No. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I think we did a show on that.
We did. We did.
Not do a show on
Did we do a profit first show?
We did.
Jen, you and I saying
the business we're purchasing does the profit first method, and so they've got like 6 bank accounts, because I thought we don't have that many, but we have a few, like, just because it makes sense. But the profit first, you really granulate those dollars into different pockets. So it was interesting to see that. But it was also very easy to read their financials. Because everything was compartmentalized.
Mm.
Yeah, nice. So has it changed your mind?
Oh, yeah, I do like the profit first method. I don't like the 6 bank accounts. I feel like that's a lot to, I don't know. But it feels complicated, and we didn't start with that, so it's I don't know. It feels like a heavy lift to switch now.
I mean, you could reconcile it into 6 bank account
Yeah,
like
I mean,
ledgers if you
yeah,
wanted to. They don't have to be 6 physical
yeah,
accounts. I mean, it might
yeah.
be. There's probably going to be a lot of times where that ends up being more like a problem of trying to figure out where did this money go, and um,
I know. I
things
guess
like that.
right now, like whatever we have set up, it seems to be working okay. But I'm totally open to the profit first method. I like the philosophy behind it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, nice.
so thoughts on going back to what was it businesses and buying Elon buying Twitter? Any thoughts? Because we haven't talked in like 2 weeks. So any thoughts on this?
I don't know that I have any thoughts. I That's a lot of money.
Isn't it? That was my first thought. I was like, couldn't you build? Look, I get it that it wouldn't have the same impact, but for 43, I mean, obviously Elon's not spending his money. He's actually going to get. I think he said 2,000 shareholders. I don't know what percentage he's divvying up of the 100% to those shareholders, but it just seems like to get 2,000 people on board for a couple million each seems like for him would be pretty easy, and not that hard of a task to take that money and then just go build your own social media platform. Especially because it's open source ones. I mean, heck, the whole Trump's True Social is based on an open source platform. Well, at least it was, and then they got sued, and I haven't followed up with the story since like November. But the stuff is out there, so it's I think I don't know. It's a lot of money for something that I don't think it has this. I don't think it has the same impact it did a decade ago.
I think it was well, in my opinion, for what it's worth, I think it was just an ego play. I think it was a lot of ego involved in that transaction.
Hmm.
I just don't know. Like Elon has got this brain that works like no one else's.
I
So
would give
what is it that he knows that we don't know? That's the
So,
only thing that I can come up with.
Yeah,
so
I will give you that. Yeah, I will give you
Because, everything he does or has done up to this point, and you're right, this could be an ego play and this could be the first time that it's different. But everything he's always done, when you look back, he's known where he's going
that. Hmm.
and he's created something or done something that's going to get him towards something. So
I think it's
yeah, I
probably
just go
both.
back
I think
to
it's probably both because he could have spent that money in any number of ways to do something innovative and cool. He's got that kind of mind where he can envision things that
and especially
seemingly
that amount.
impossible. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he probably has an idea of where he's going to go with it, but it was also ego.
I think Drew's probably hit the nail on the head there, right?
Yeah,
With
it,
data.
it's yeah, it's data. I mean, there's links between Twitter and the government and the algorithms that they use, and he wants to make it open source and the whole free speech and blah 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 blah. And I tend to think that he's gonna come up against the hard truth that free speech isn't free, isn't able to just be everything, and there's hard decisions to be made on what's right, what's wrong, and where the line is, and where to draw that line, because it's very very difficult. But I have this theory that like part of it is on the back of Twitter he could make his own WeChat for Mars, for the Mars, city on Mars. So
Mm-hmm.
like and for any people who don't know, WeChat is like Facebook but bigger in China. It's like all
It's like
encompassing.
Facebook with and Shopify and
yeah.
every social media platform and
And
PayPal and
Venmo and PayPal,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
all there all in one. It's
Pay
actually a
your
little bit
electric bill from it.
scary.
Yeah.
It is. But I wonder if that's part of the play. Is like thinking down the line of that. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to him buying. I barely used it, honestly. I still barely use it. I probably will still continue to barely use it. It's just not where I spend my time. And I, you get rid of the bots, and then you start looking at the numbers, and you think, is there really that big of a platform? Like it has the weight, people still quote tweets all the time, but that's from like a media standpoint, not a user to user standpoint. I mean, there's pockets and niches of people that use Twitter, but I just don't know that it's as big as it once was.
Yeah, but is Facebook like on the same argument? Like,
Oh, I would argue the same thing for Facebook too. I mean, did you
right?
guys see that Facebook is discontinuing podcasts on Facebook
I saw
Yeah,
that.
Leon
already? It's
did
been
a
was it been
State of
like
the
six
Union
months?
yesterday.
Yeah, a hot minute.
Well, and that was for the few people that had it anyway.
Yeah.
I had it, but I never actually
Uh-huh.
posted to it, so it didn't matter. It ultimately
I
didn't
wonder
matter.
why they cancelled it, Joe.
I wonder why. I wonder why. So we have this question here by Lupus Experiencing. I have a very specific strategy question. Maybe you can provide some insight. You are a Fortune 500 company with hundreds of product lines. Um,
Oh, there it
there's
is.
a new startup with strong patents and products, and it's hitting hard on one of your product lines and moving fast. What what would you do? And in this case, Lupus is the startup. So
We're the Fortune 500 company. So what would
so how
Patson?
are we gonna kick Lupus's butt, basically?
Um, I guess. I mean, there's a buyout potential.
There is. Um, it potentially could buy. Depends on how big that number is, how much it would cost to do it, and if it outweighs. Just like we were just talking about Twitter. It's like at that $43 billion, like you couldn't build one. I mean the you couldn't build one.
Well, he mentions patents. So if he's got patents on a product that
Strong
competes with,
patents. Yep.
yeah, strong patent, that competes directly with the Fortune 500 companies product that is, a profitable and popular product line, then, I mean, they could just shut him down by buying him out, buying the patent. And I don't think Lupus Experience will complain about that.
Mm.
Maybe it depends on. I think it depends on what the connection to the product is, and all that. How deep is the connection to that product and that idea? Because some people like was it they say like the most dangerous person is the person that has one idea, right? Because they're willing to do
Mm.
anything to defend that idea and to keep it to themselves. I mean, we see that with Shark Tank all the time. Like people that are like holding on to this thing, and it's like you have a muffin. Like you can make other muffins. You can change the formula for the muffin or the recipe for the muffin a little bit. There's not really anything that's patentable per se. Hey Gerard, good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. We got to catch up, man. We got to catch up. My wife's been bothering me to get in touch with you. Um, so I think it depends on how deep that patent goes, and because again, it also depends. Like, is that patent reverse engine? Like, it could be a strong patent, but like, can we work? Do we have enough money to just work around that patent?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we
Mm-hmm.
have enough money to just let him or her sue us and say we don't care? I mean, look, Amazon does it all the time. There was that ad for a camera bag that they were like, "Oh, look, we made this awesome bag, so awesome that Amazon stole, ripped us off and made the same exact bag at like a third of the cost or a third of the price as our bag, but the quality isn't really there. It's just the same function, and made a whole
And I
ad
think
around it.
from a different perspective, and we talked about this in another episode where one of the viewers had a cosmetics company. I don't know if you guys remember
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
conversation,
Yeah.
and we were actually saying like this is a great opportunity to show what's different about you. Stay in your own lane and really use your uniqueness to grow something different instead of playing alongside and trying to battle something, like that a big Fortune 500 company has. How can you own your uniqueness and really forge your own way?
Excellent. Excellent point. Ding, ding.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I think that let's see. We're in the early stage. We're in the early stages, so we're only thinking about the scenario. But my partner is paranoid about these gigantic competitors sabotaging us somehow. But I have my doubts. Look, there's plenty of ways. You know what? If you want to talk about just sabotage, I'll just go to who's making your product. I'm just going to go to their factory and be like, hey, I'll give just take us. Here's more money, and don't make that their stuff. Make our stuff. I mean, that's a very legal way of, sabotaging in a way that's, I mean, they can have contracts, but those contracts will have penalties, and we'll just pay those penalties because it'll be cheaper than worrying about all the headaches. I mean, it's tumultuous. Is that that's a word, right? Turbulent. It's. Go ahead.
I said it. Tumultuous. Tumultuous is the word you're looking for, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah. So it's very. There's a lot of ways that they can play it. That people can screw with you. You just go to court, right? And it's like, oh well, we'll just tie it up in litigation and let it play out for years. But in the meantime, we'll just continue to make money. And then if we do get our wrist slapped, then we'll just pay the fine, and the fine will probably be way less than we ever had to pay you or anything that mattered.
I just hate to see fear being the cause of somebody not launching.
Yeah.
Because some of this fear
Yeah.
is just unfounded, and what's worse, just not getting it off the ground. I mean, you can paralyze yourself and sabotage your own success by worrying about people that aren't worrying about you.
Jen could not agree more there.
Yeah.
My thought was where your focus goes, energy flows. Like,
Yes.
I know you have to be very aware of these things that are going on. Like putting your head in the sand is certainly not what you were talking about, right, Jen?
Right.
But at the same time, if that's your whole focus, where are you going to end up? Yeah.
Failure to launch. I mean, you spent money and invested in these patents. I mean, that's not a inexpensive or quick process. So to me, it's like you've done your due diligence in terms of trying to protect yourself. So all you can do is really, eyes wide open, but go for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, what's the worst that happens? You get the experience, and you get to take that into the next thing, right? It's better than just sitting on the sideline and doing nothing, and then being like, "Wow, I wish this would have taken off," or "I wish I could have, been able to produce something at a greater velocity than that." I mean, a lot of times, what they say, the settlers get arrows, right? I don't know if that's a PC thing to say anymore, but being the first in is difficult. Because you're going to get people that are going to throw projectiles at you and knock you down and put things in your path to stop you. There was one example I can think of. So I was working with somebody who did their own laundry detergent, and early on, they had an offer on the table to be bought out for their formula, by a big 4-letter word company who makes laundry detergent. And they declined it because they saw $1 million was basically nothing in the grand scheme of everything that they were in. But to me, hindsight is you could just change the formula, and what do you got to wait 3 years, 2 years, and then go back at it, But that is a case of having that idea, investing all that time and effort, and then feeling like you're defending it to the death because it's the big it's your big thing, and that person had a connection to why they made said detergent, because it was all natural, and it stopped their scarring and stuff like that they didn't know for decades why they were having these scarring issues, because or the dyes and the stuff in detergent. So before we run out of time here, because I know we need to stop a little bit early, I wanted to give Jen, you an opportunity to give your one cool thing. 'Cause it's been a while since we've gotten to.
Yeah, we used to have this one cool thing segment, and we haven't done it in a while. But this is a something I stumbled across called Copy.ai. And I was, because it's my nature, I was very skeptical, willing to just, I was willing to try it, but I did not have high hopes. So, but it proved me wrong. If you're like most businesses and you have to crank out, content like constantly, like there's a never ending need for your business to produce content. I was pretty surprised. It asked a few questions about like tonality and subject matter and like a headline, and then it gives you pieces of content that you can like approve, ask for more of, take out. And I was really impressed that it came up with a blog post that was almost good to go. It was like 95%.
Wow.
And it was also nuanced. It wasn't just, it had personality. I think I picked a bold tonality just because I wanted to see what that sort of felt like. And it picked up on some nuances I was really surprised about. And it didn't read like something that was just auto-generated by a robot. It was pretty impressive. But it doesn't just stop at blog content. It can help you generate, social media, post content, email headlines, all sorts of stuff. So check it out. I would not rely on it 100% for the type of content we produce, but there are some, blog posts that I think this might work out just fine for, like I said, get you most of the way there, and then you polish it up and you're good to go. I would say the same blog post would have probably, I would have had to pay somebody or do it myself, and it probably would have represented 3 to 5 hours worth of work. And it was literally done in 10 minutes by this.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
10 minutes.
That's really cool, Jen.
So I got a question for both of you. Are these headshots intentional, or are they not intentional?
They are horrible headshots.
They are.
Melissa, you could. I mean, all of them. I'm not going to pick on Melissa. I was really noticed that she was the CEO.
Nobody was like expecting the picture to be taken when it was taken, and they were like, "Oh yeah, let's run with that." Is this intentional marketing to make it feel relatable?
It has to be. When you were scrolling, I actually thought that was like it was a video.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was a video.
Is it?
Until you stopped.
Oh, it is. It is a video.
There you go.
There we go.
It is a video. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I was Melissa, I would be like, "Thanks, guys, for picking that screen."
Yeah, I mean, he's blurry. He's looking up his nose.
Yeah, and they have, like a lot of things there, it's a freemium. So there's a free level, but I was able to get a lot of stuff, like a lot of copy at the free level. I haven't tapped it out, so I'm not sure how the credits are calculated. But you can go pro for $35 a month, $420 yearly. I was like, that's an easy yes. That's an easy yes.
Nice.
I'll have to check it out, because I know
let me know if you have a similar
when Jarvis came out, and I think the Jarvis is called something different now. I had to play with it, and I just couldn't get anything that sounded decent, and I was playing with it. I was like, oh, I'd rather just send it to my content writers and get them to do it.
We have virtual assistants, we have, copywriters that we work with, and, they're worth their weight in gold. And I hate to take business away from them, but like I said, for some stuff, not your thought leadership stuff maybe, but like just maybe your, kind of your marketing content, it could work pretty well.
I'm
Nice.
I'm definitely going to be checking it out because I need
Yeah, I'm definitely
everything
gonna
that can
check it
save
out.
some time
Yeah.
here. I did have one cool thing, but I know we got to get going. So I just wanted to point out real quick, get your impressions because today is Cinco de Mayo. I know it's not down there anymore. Cinco de Mayo. It's May 6th down under, but getting an marketing email from a non-Mexican restaurant talking about Cinco de Mayo, and they serve Indian food.
Well, they're just getting into the spirit, Joe. Yeah, I mean, they're just getting into the fun.
Yeah, I guess. I just found it funny. And I guess it doesn't hurt. Hey, like if they can capture, because I know around here there's only a handful of Mexican restaurants anyway. So like I mean, at this point they're definitely all probably sold out or done for the night. As far as how much food they have. So at least if past years are to be anything to go by. But yeah, I just thought it was funny, and who knows, maybe it's an opportunity to catch somebody who's like, I don't really feel like having Mexican food tonight. We'll go with Indian food
Yeah.
instead, and here's 10% off while you're at it.
Well, and it got you talking and thinking about them. It stood out. So
Yeah.
They just got some free advertising.
Yeah, well, I didn't say who it was, but it's a place we do go, quite somewhat
Wow, give them a
regularly.
shout
too,
out,
so.
Joe. Like, geez.
I think I've mentioned them here. Spicy Affair.
I like the name.
Yeah. This is a great food. But yeah, so well that pretty much does it for us for this week. Lupus says thanks for the insight. Makes a lot of sense. Cheers from Brazil. It's awesome. This this episode is brought to us all by yourpodcastconcierge.com. Go check out Leon if you want to get started with your own podcast and get your own message out there. Marketing, nothing more powerful than your voice to your potential customers' ears, in trust building and everything in between. Go to yourpodcastconcierge.com, work with Leon and his team. For Samantha Riley and Jennifer Crawford, I'm Joe Pardo, and I hope you all have an amazing week. We'll see you here in 2 weeks, Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Friday, is it 8 a.m.? 8 a.m.
7 a.m.
Oh,
Australian
man, it's
Eastern
early.
Standard.
You are a treasure,
It is.
Sam. You are a treasure. 7 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time here on the Business Geeks podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening. See
you,
you
Joe.
next week. Take care.
Thanks.